So Kamren Kinchens is the latest to join the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to get into why I'm so excited about this pick. Before I do, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan. So let's dive into it. Kamren Kinchens, I had as my 46th overall player. So I had a top 50 grade on this prospect. He came in, pick 99 to the Rams. They stayed at 99. My number 4 safety. I am really, really excited about this player. I think he's a day one starting safety. I think he's better than Russ Yeast. I have no issue with Russ Yeast. I think he's a solid, football player. And he can be used in sub packages, but I was watching the film, throughout this process, and I came away really liking Kinchens' abilities. He's 5'11", 203, which is, I think, good size for a safety. He started 27 of his 34 games at Miami U. 11 interceptions the last 2 seasons, which, by the way, to have over 10 plus, that is rare company for a defensive back at Miami the last 25 years. The only names that you could say have done that, Kamren Kinchens, Ed Reed, and Sean Taylor. Talk about good company. He's the 829th most athletic safety out of 1,093 since 1987. We'll get into that. And this is testing, keep in mind. He had 22 pass breakups the last 2 seasons to go with the 11 interceptions. He ran a 4.58 40 time private, pro day, 13 on the bench, which isn't great, but not the end of the world. So let's talk about him. Why do I like Kinchens so much? Especially because, the last videos we made, Corum wasn't a bad athlete and Fisk is otherworldly. So why am I excited about a guy who finished as not a great athlete testing wise? Well, he's got a lot of strengths, folks, and he's going to be a fun player to watch. He is going to have his growing pains. We'll get into that. But to start off, elite ball skills, okay? I just said 11 interceptions the last 2 years. I wasn't kidding, okay? He seriously has elite ball skills. The guy knows how to take the football away, great natural hands like a wide receiver, using his hands, not his body. Love to see it. That is a thing that, I don't hold against defensive backs, because the reason why they're not wide receivers is because they don't have the hands, so to speak. But man, he's got some really nice highlight reel level catches that show up on tape. Just catching, letting the ball just give with the ball, right? Love seeing it. Can kind of contort his body in different ways, keep himself in bounds, come down with the interception. I'll tell you this right now. That quality is something that, no matter what you say, the Rams don't actively have on their secondary right now. Kamren Curl hasn't had an interception since his first year in the league in 2017. Darius Williams had 4 this year, went 2 seasons with 0, and then had 4 the year before that. Those 2 seasons. Tre'Davious White's had a bunch of seasons with 1. So they don't have a bunch of interceptions in that room. They lost Jordan Fuller, okay? Jordan Fuller had, 4 interceptions last year. We don't know if John Johnson will be back. So they need a guy that gives them ball skills. And obviously we're talking about Kamren Kinchens, and he can do it. Despite not being an elite athlete, he has elite anticipation and instincts getting to the football. He's got really good range, didn't test super well, but the range is evident on film. He can really cut off any throw to the boundary, over the middle. He's impressive in that regard. He has legit blitzing ability, does really a nice job of, getting through the lane with ease, and, has good instincts, like I mentioned, as a ball, skill type of guy, but he also has good instincts in blitzing. So I think he's somebody that could be used in that. He has pop behind his pads. This is somebody that can lay the wood as a hitter. So that's something to feel good about. He's also a formed tackler, really trying to textbook tackle every chance he gets. There'll be a time, at times he'll slip up and, maybe he'll grab a leg or, be an ankle biter, but he's not that. He's really trying to have a textbook tackle every single opportunity. He's never afraid to leave his feet, shoot right up in the ball carrier's hands, try to jar the ball loose when he can. Love that about him. Love watching that. because he does do that. He can turn himself into a heat-seeking missile, but it's like a controlled aggression where you don't have to worry about him, tearing an ACL of, another player, like a certain player that did the Tyler Higbee. You don't have to worry about him getting penalties, okay, because he doesn't really get penalized, and we'll get into that. So, the thing about him, versatility, he can be all over the defense, used as a slot, single high safety, two high. I think he's going to be used best in two high. Obviously, he'll be used the most probably in two high, but definitely, excited to watch him. Plays much faster on tape than he tested, and I think that's important because, on tape, you would never know he tested, as poorly as he did. The range is evident. And, he cuts off passes near the sideline with ease. So, he has a great break on the ball, has the awareness, and it's fun to watch on film for sure. And of course, Miami has the turnover chain. So, he's going to come down with that thing more often than not, which is cool to see. He's a high IQ football player, quick mental processor in coverage. He reads and reacts extremely well. His break on the ball, like I mentioned, is really good. He literally tries to pick off everything that comes, around him. So, those guys that immediately what they're doing is trying to swat the ball down. He's trying to pick it off, and it is a blessing to see it, because you can say what you will. And I thought Charles Davis brought up a good point. I saw the NFL Network, clip that came up on Twitter about him getting drafted by the Rams. And Charles Davis said it best. Look, like it takes one play. I mean, sometimes teams are down by one score, or, they're down, one play is the difference. And that interception can be the deciding factor of a game. So I agree with him. And I think that's something that the Rams really lacked last year. So I'm excited to get a guy like Kinchens in this room. So I mentioned he doesn't really commit penalties, didn't get hit with targeting or anything like that. His final 21 games, 0 penalties. Very, very disciplined player, which is something that's awesome to watch because he can play violent, okay? And he takes risks, but they're calculated where he doesn't get himself in any sort of trouble. He's got very good special teams ability. He did that a couple years back and was productive. And he was a leader of the Miami defense for the last 2 years. So, shocker, the Rams drafted a leader. They drafted a guy who, you want on your football team, a guy that can impact. And, by all means, everything that I was reading about his character is that he's a good dude. So not a shock. Now let's get into his weaknesses. There's not too many, but there are some things that you need to know. First off, the speed isn't elite, like I mentioned. If he over pursues in the run game and run support, which by the way is his weakest part of his game, he's not catching up on a chase down. Okay. This is a guy, he puts his foot in the dirt and then he just takes off, and he has the, short area quickness and things like that to cut off the ball, but he can't move, go downhill with and then reset and then try to catch up. It's just not going to work out. So he does have those, issues where he over pursues. He does a really nice job of being somewhat centered when he's trying to make a tackle, but sometimes he over pursues, sometimes he misses. It happens. So I figured I'd mention that as a weakness. Another weakness is his angles. Okay. He takes poor pursuit angles to the ball carrier to make the tackle. Makes his job harder, more difficult. And the problem is if you take the bad angles and you don't have elite athleticism, you can't really recover. And so he does have those issues where, recovery speed isn't quite there. The biggest concern is something that we saw this past year that happened with Ahkello Witherspoon. Okay, a lot of those touchdowns that were given up by the secondary, or big plays were given up by the secondary, were pinned on Ahkello Witherspoon. But if you actually watch the All-22, you would notice that it was Jordan Fuller or it was Russ Yeast. And what I mean by that is they get mixed up in their assignment and zone coverage, and it would lead to a coverage bust. And so now you see Ahkello Witherspoon last year on film, number 44, trying to rush over and do something about it. He can't. So PFF is going to hit him with the touchdown given up, when in reality it was Jordan Fuller. Good example of this, Dallas Goedert, the touchdown against the Eagles. That was Jordan Fuller's responsibility. He doesn't come up to actually play the ball, play the receiver, or play the tight end. And so Akello tries to get over there, doesn't get a chance. He's caught in between the two. Coverage bust, goes to Akello. So he needs to work on that. Kinchens is a guy that does at times get mixed up in coverage, have those coverage busts, gave up some touchdowns because of it. So that's something he's going to need to work on, but no prospect is perfect. He's currently 21. He'll be 22 this year. But overall, I gave Kinchens an 86 out of 100. Yeah, that's right. Not too many, in my opinion, not too many weaknesses that I could really find in his game. But I gave him an 86 out of 100. Puts him as a second round grade and a plus starter grade to go with it. So not only can he start day one, I think he's going to be a plus starter. Kinchens, I think the entire point and what the Rams are getting in Kinchens and why they went after him is because he provides a ball hawk for the secondary that doesn't have it. The Rams last year were tied for 23rd in interceptions. That's not good enough. Okay. That's not good enough. Some of the best teams in the league were in the top 10. They were one of the best teams that weren't in the top 10. They were 23rd. So, losing Jordan Fuller, who had a lot of interceptions compared to what you had, you only had 10. He had 4 of them, I believe. Losing a guy like that, you have to replace that. Hopefully Kinchens can come in and be that guy that he was in college. I'm not expecting right out of the gate 6 interceptions, but if he could give 3 or 4 and make you feel a little bit better, that would be nice. He's a day one starter. That's another thing. I mentioned it earlier. I mean, I think he's absolutely going to start over Russ Yeast. Again, he's 20. He's going to be 22. A younger guy, can learn, grow with guys like Kamren Curl, who he's going to play next to. Same spelling. Bizarre. Kamren. They both spell it the same way. I had only seen it spelled the way Kamren Curl spelled it with Kamren Curl's name, and then Kinchens comes along and has the same spelling. Funny stuff. Also growing with Quentin Lake, who's going to play the star position. He fits the Rams extremely well. I think he's going to work in a heavy zone defense, which pretty much the Rams do, right? Like in man coverage, he's not as great. I think it's why he also is going to fall. A lot of teams didn't like, his ability in man. But he's going to work in zone. Okay. I really like his ability in zone coverage, match zone. And I think he's going to get opportunities, to actually come up and take the ball away. So I think the Rams are going to kind of scheme around that opportunity, where he can be the robber. He has a chance to be a plus starter, coming out like a John Johnson or a Jordan Fuller, in my opinion. John Johnson was a 3rd round pick, didn't test extremely well, came in and immediately had an impact, although he was taller. Jordan Fuller was also taller, a little bit more filled out, but he was a 6th round pick. And he made his presence known the moment he stepped into rookie minicamp. Then he went into training camp, and then of course, preseason he really pulled away as a starter. In the same draft where they picked the safety in the 3rd round, Terrell Burgess. So I think Kinchens can be something for this defense. I think he could be a key contributor. I think he's definitely going to start this year, and I think long term the upside is a Pro Bowler. I think he can be that good. So. Really love this pick. I gave it an A. That's what you're getting with Kinchens. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't already. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media. Keep it right here, for more Rams content. But let me know in the comment section below if you like this pick of Kamren Kinchens and, what you think he can end up being. Anyway, that's all I got. Player comp was a little difficult, so I wasn't sure where to go with that. I see a few players. I guess I could say, somebody like, it's really tough. I could see Quandre Diggs, not as good as an athlete, but I can kind of see that, like the ball hawking ability. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So appreciate it, and I'll see you soon. Later, folks. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.